Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today in this video I'm going to be doing a little tune-up on the Mini. Now, if you ever bring your car to any kind of automotive shop and they tell you, hey, we're going to perform a tune-up on the vehicle, what exactly are they doing? Well, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to check your filters, make sure they're okay, do an oil change, and potentially change out your spark plugs. If they're bad, they'll change them out and swap them with new ones. Now, I've already done the intake filter, I've done everything else, I've done the oil change. The only thing that I haven't done as a part of a tune-up so far is I haven't changed out the spark plugs. Now that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. Today the Mini is going to be getting new spark plugs. I'm going to check everything over, and I'm going to also make sure that everything is lubricated properly so that next time that we need to change our spark plugs, everything is going to come out nice and easy. So for my Mini right here, since it's a 4-cylinder engine, I'm going to take a look at each one of the cylinders, and I can tell that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs. Now, if you have a vehicle that has, say, multiple spark plugs per cylinder, say you have 2, in a 4-cylinder application, you would have 8 spark plugs to change. Now, more often than not, you're only going to have the number of cylinders. That's how many you're going to have spark plugs to change out. So I already removed one of the plugs right here. And the way that it works is it's just attached into the motor on the head, and it's connected up with a little electrical connector right here. So it's connected in there. I'll first put this on, so like that, and I'm gonna hook it up like so. So I already took one of them out just to show you guys what it looks like. But if you're removing this and you're starting from scratch, you want to change out your spark plugs, this is how you do it. So you're gonna undo the connector going to each one of the plugs. You're gonna take each one of the plugs out. And then from there, you're going to be able to see the spark plug found inside the head of the engine. So if here's the motor, I'm going to take a look at inside there. And you can see that little tiny part in the center. That is our spark plug that's attached on the bottom of the head. So the cylinder head is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs that we need to remove. So if you can see way down in there, there's a little spark plug, and we're going to need a special socket to extract it. So if you take a look right here, this is a new spark plug that we're going to be installing on the Mini. Now this is a platinum and iridium spark plug. So the bottom part, the ground, like the little part that's curved, that is made out of platinum, and the center part, which is the electrode, so the little part that creates the spark, is made from iridium. It's just an element, and this creation, this little assembly right here, makes a very nice spark. This is a higher end spark plug. So I've got the same kind of spark plug that we're going to be putting today inside the Mini in my Accord. I love these things, they work nice. Now, in order to take this out, you can see that this part right here is essentially a nut. It's a 12-point nut that we're going to have to extract. And because there's this much length to it, we're going to use a special spark plug socket. Now, this right here is a 6-point. And this will not suffice because this, for our Mini, of course, it's different than everything else. This is a 12-point. But this is the way that it works. So the spark plug, the socket is going to go over top of it, and it's going to be long enough so that the socket will be able to slide over top, and it's going to be able to turn the spark plug. From there, if you take a look at the inside of the socket, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but there's like a little rubber piece on the inside, or a magnet that's going to be able to hold the spark plug and keep it up. So once you loosen it, you're going to be able to pull it out of the engine. So this is a traditional style of a flexible spark plug socket. Now because BMW is different, I'm going to have to use a special 12-point socket to extract this. So for the Mini, I'm going to have to use this special 12-point socket with a little rubber insert. It's like a little O-ring found on the inside. And what you're going to do is you're going to slide it over top. Oops. You're going to slide it over top of your spark plug, extract it, and because that little O-ring is found inside of there, you can see that it'll be able to pull it up and extract it from the engine. So with our plug out, what we're going to do is we're going to slide our spark plug socket down into the cylinder head with an extension attached to a ratchet. And we're just going to loosen this up, lefty-loosey, and we're going to take each one of the spark plugs out. So there should be a couple threads holding onto it, and as soon as you really get it going, you can take the ratchet off and spin it by hand. With it loose, you should be able to pull this out and inspect the old spark plugs. So here we have the new spark plug and our old coils and our old spark plugs all found right here. So this is for cylinder 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we take a look at them, they seem to be in pretty decent condition. Like, they do have a little bit of carbon buildup found on the spark plug and even on the threads, but that's a little normal. Like, you'll most likely see that on an old set of spark plugs. Now, because I just bought this Mini, I don't know when the previous owner installed new spark plugs on their vehicle. Now, if I were to take a look at these spark plugs, I would tell you, yes, it is time to change them. Like, they don't cost that much, so I mean, it's not really a big deal, even if you replace them a little bit early. If you have a set of spark plugs like this and you switch them over to new ones like this, you're probably going to see a performance difference, whether it be more power or better fuel economy when you switch from, say, an old set like this to this. Now, there's no need to replace each one of the coils. But while you're at it, you can if you want. These retail for about 40 to 60 bucks a piece. It's not mandatory. If you have any problems with them, then I would definitely replace them. But as it stands, they seem to be okay. The spark plugs still will work fine by using the old plugs. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna grab the new spark plugs and install all 4 of them on our cylinder head. Now, when installing the new spark plugs in the car, if you noted, when we took out our old plugs, it was very easy to take them out. There wasn't any corrosion or anything on the ceramic part right here. Now, the reason why is because there was a little bit of lubricant on this little section. So there was 3M silicone paste, any kind of dielectric grease, that kind of product was found on here. Now, you can choose, if you have some 3M silicone paste, it is dielectric grease, if you'll take note right there. Now, if you don't want to opt for the big container like this, you can grab some Permatex dielectric grease. It does the exact same stuff. Now, I like using this when doing small jobs like that because you can grab a tiny bit of it, and I'll make sure that I get this on camera. You can grab a little bit of this stuff, dab it on, like literally the excuse, and just rub it on. You don't need much, you just need a little bit so that when we install the spark plug back onto the plug won't corrode and like seize itself onto the spark plug itself. Now, I have seen people before when they install these spark plugs, what they'll do is they'll apply a little bit of anti-seize on the threads. Now, I have done it a couple times, I have not done it a couple times. I haven't really noticed a big difference when doing it versus not. Now, as long as you change out your spark plugs in the proper interval, you shouldn't really need to apply any kind of anti-seize on the threads. You can if you want. Now, if you were to, what I would do is I would apply it only on the top section of the threads right here so that it's not going to be interfering with our cylinder. So this end part of the spark plug is probably going to be inserted into the cylinder and it is going to be exposed. Hence why the bottom section on our old spark plug was essentially black. So if I were to apply some anti-seize on the spark plug, I'd only do it to the top little threads. And I wouldn't even use much. I'd probably use even less than what I used for the ceramic part right here for the dielectric grease. Your option, you can do it if you like. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. As long as you torque up each one of the spark plugs up to the proper manufacturer spec, which in our case is 19 foot-pounds of torque, you're not gonna have an issue. Now, that's where this guy comes in handy, our torque wrench. So before that, I'm gonna grab the spark plug, install it in our socket, and then thread this into our engine. So when installing the spark plug, have it inserted into your socket. Bring it all the way down into the cylinder head. Now, don't tighten it yet. What I like doing first to make sure that it doesn't cross thread is I will spin it counterclockwise until I hear the thread drop down into the proper pitch of the cylinder head. So if you listen carefully, I really hope the camera will pick this up. Did you hear that? That little drop. So what's happening is the spark plug is spinning up onto the threads, and as soon as it goes too far, it drops a little bit down onto the proper seat, and then at this point, we can go ahead and turn this and tighten it. Now, whenever you're tightening, do not use any kind of impact gun, do not use any kind of really high torque for this. You wanna make sure that you do this by hand so that nothing gets over torqued. Because if it does, and say you cross thread the pitch inside the cylinder head, you're gonna be stuck with taking the head out and remachining and rethreading the cylinder head, and that's not gonna be cheap. So take your time with this, and as soon as you have it down, set your torque wrench up to the proper spec, and then listen for the click. Right there. There's your proper spec. So that's 19 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is only for my vehicle right here. Your vehicle is probably going to be different. So before doing this, I would either go to your local dealership to find out the torque spec of it. I would look up the service manual, or if you're lucky enough, you might even have the torque spec inside your glove box in the owner's manual. Now after this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab each one of our plugs, slide it down over top of each one of our spark plugs. Make sure you hook the wire up, clip it in. So we've got one done, and we've got to do the same thing for the next 3. So changing out the spark plugs is going to be the best way that you're going to be able to get back power that you've lost. You're going to improve your fuel efficiency, and your car is overall going to run a lot better. If you guys want to pick up any of the stuff that I used today in this video, whether it be the tools, the grease, or even the spark plugs, you guys can check the description box down below for links for all that stuff. Now I have a ton of mini stuff coming out for you guys soon. This week I'm picking up wheels for the Accord. I'm throwing my tires on the Accord. This week I'm also getting my roll cage in. I'm working out with more interior stuff. I've got some more car parts coming in for that. And then once the interior is done, the suspension is going to be completely changed. Everything suspension-wise, gone. I also heard back from the wide body guys. So the guys that I'm going to be getting my fenders from, they said that at the worst case scenario, I should get my stuff by the beginning of April. Or no, mid-April. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get all that stuff before that, because as soon as I get those fender flares, I'll have a set of super wide, super sticky tires and a set of really fat wheels going on the Mini. Once I get those fender flares, everything is going to be a go, and the car is going to be completely transformed after that. But in the meantime, I still have a lot of mods to go and throw on the Mini and get this build going. If you guys have any questions regarding the video, throw it down in the comment section below, and I'd be more than happy to help. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.